Welcome to another investigation into the systems and mechanisms that can run our lives if we are not aware of them. This time, emotions. This video is a companion to other video where we spoke about ideas around negative emotions. So if you didn't see that, the link is here or in the description. I suggest you watch that before doing this meditation or after it. Just to recap, we looked at negative emotions like anger, most of our fears, disgust, resentment, hate, jealousy, and saw them as contractions. And there were other emotions that we called them positive. They were more towards expansion. They were expanding us into the world. They're connecting us with our world, with ourselves. And they were joyful. They are a sense that's joyful. Things like happiness, love, wonder, awe, curiosity, enthusiasm bring us out of our shell. We looked at the idea that the problem is not the emotions, but that we identify with them, so that they can be like a measurement tools in a cockpit. We can take a look at them, but only if we have the freedom to see them for what they are. What happens a lot of the time, we identify with these emotions and then I am angry instead of a better way of seeing it, which is there is anger. There is anger here and I observe it. Now, this probably, if you have tried any meditation or especially the meditations here, you know that this is exactly what we do in meditation. We observe what is going on without trying to change it. Because we are not trying to change these emotions. We might be able to do so, but then they will come back. Just the same with thoughts. We want to change our relationship with them. So we are not ruled by them, but they can guide our life sometimes. It's a huge difference. And so to change this relationship, we really need to see them for what they are. Understanding of what they are and what is going on, awareness, is key. So let's investigate for ourselves, because these things, if remain as ideas, are not going to change anything. So let's bring our awareness here. Just be aware of, without closing your eyes, just be aware of touch. You can touch your fingers, sensation of touch, my voice, bring yourself back to the room or a space you are sitting in. Just take a look around. Don't try to seek something there, like to grab something that it has. No, it is very simple. Just be aware that you are sitting here. That is enough. Let's close our eyes now and take a couple of deep breaths through your nose, out through your nose, with a very slow exhale. Follow the breath as it enters your nostril, follow it where it goes and back, all the way in and out. Keep your back straight. Don't tilt your head too much down. Following the breath. See if you can discover something new in each breath you didn't notice. Now let the breath return to its normal rhythm. It can be deep, it can be shallow, doesn't matter. See if you can let go of controlling it. But is still aware of it. It is very normal that you lose yourself in thought very quickly. And this is exactly what we are looking for. We want the thoughts to actually show us what is going on. So see if you can observe the thoughts as they just appear. You can imagine these thoughts like as if you're sitting on the side of the road and there are many cars passing. They come and go. But sometimes you find that yourself in one of these cars and somewhere else. Or bubbles that come and you kind of go away. The moment you realize you are in this car, the moment you realize you're in this bubble and gone away, you're already back. The moment that you notice you lost your awareness, you are aware again. So don't fight it. We are trying to see this transition. That's what we are doing in this meditation. We want to see the transition from when I am lost in a thought and when I observe the thought. If you can do this, this is one of the greatest insights. Now you might hear your voice, or at least a voice that you normally call your voice in your head, saying different things, maybe explaining things to me or to yourself, or see if you can also see this voice as a stream of thoughts and ideas. Imagine that you were an investigator and you were investigating humans and you just somehow entered the mind of this human and just observing a lot of thoughts, a lot of voices, sensation, without trying to change anything, judge anything, just curious. Can you see the difference between being lost in a thought and observing a thought? You don't need to be super clear on it. It gets better and better. That is something, the more we observe it, the more we recognize it. This shift of identification with thought. There is a difference between, there is this thought, or I am thinking this thought. There's a big difference. Now let's do the same thing with emotions. Can you bring something in mind today, yesterday, that upset you? Don't go looking for something huge or big. If something is in your life now that really troubles you, we are looking for something small. Maybe something in the traffic, or a moment you got angry, or scream of a child, maybe, or something that brought this one of these negative emotions up in you. Alternatively, look at something in the world. In our world of internet and connectivity, it is easy to just find something that you completely disagree with, maybe a political opposition, something, and think about it and see, observe the emotions. Can you observe these emotions the same way we did with thoughts? Not identify with them, but recognize them, name them even. It's hate, it's anger, or it's self-doubt, or it is fear. See if you can think of something that upset you, or think in something in the world that you're opposed to, and see this stream of emotions. See if you can name them, observe them. Can you see a difference between being angry and there is anger? Now, you might feel angry after thinking about something you're opposed to, or you might feel sadness, and that is something visceral you feel, right? If that's so, see if you can look at that emotion and see if there is a shift also in how your body reacts. So instead of thinking to yourself that I am angry, aha, there is anger. I see it. There is a distance. The moment you recognize this distance, you have just discovered your emotional freedom. This distance, once you start to become very familiar with it, can free you. This is the difference between being ruled, a slave to emotions, being ruled by them, or having a choice what to do. The difference between reactivity and acting. The distance is to be able to observe an emotion without being identified with it. Or being identified and you completely feel it in your body, you see this emotion just get stronger and stronger while you can observe it. And just like thoughts, when we observe them, they go away. Or we can engage with them, but we have a choice. We are not at the mercy of whatever shows up next, because that is not a life. That's not a life we have if it's controlled by everything that just can show up. And most of them, in case of emotion, just some primal programming that is not even useful most of the time, because our brain is just not designed for these times. It's just still running from tigers and lions. So one last time, see if this is something you can get a sense of, a glimpse of. The difference between being lost in thought or in emotion, or observing it come and go. So just watch the next thought or emotion. Be this open space that things appear, and see if you can notice what appears. Don't grab it, and see where it goes. Also, if you in your head hear, oh, this is good, I can use this. This is a thought too. So this is what we mean by observing it. Also see this voice of you as thoughts. Or if you think, I don't know what he's talking about, that's also a thought that you have identified with as yourself. In this moment, we want to observe that. So everything that you take to be your voice, talking to yourself, see those as thoughts. Don't identify with it for now. There is no reason to analyze or make a mental exercise out of this. The more we practice this transition, the more they become obvious to us. So don't push yourself, don't expect yourself to fully grasp this. But hopefully you see some glimpse of something that can truly change the way you experience your life. So let's open our eyes now. How was it? Stream of thoughts and emotions. I hope it was not baffling and it could bring some clarity. What is important is not to fight with these ideas, especially if these are new to you. Just let them sink in, and slowly we start to get more clarity. And when we have this clarity, when we can see how we identified with the voice in our head, with thoughts, with our emotions, that is the freedom that meditation can really offer us. This is freedom from being ruled by and being at the mercy of the next thought, or having the choice of acting. Instead of our lives being reaction, now there is possibility, there is choice, there is action. When it comes to the negative emotions, the less we suffer from those, the more open we are to those that expand us. And so it is important that when we realize these distances, we start to get a sense of what it means to be lost in thought, lost in an emotion, and observing an emotion. Now this is time to implement this in our lives, because otherwise, what's the use of 20 minutes meditation? In this way, as you go about your day, be aware of all these gifts of negative emotions that can pop up, for example, in a traffic, which is something people have, it's so easy for people to get so angry. See them. In that moment, it is much easier. Now in the meditation, we are practicing this, but we want to do this in real life, where real emotions pop up. And that moment, when you start to see, okay, there's an emotion appearing now. See if slowly your relationship can change, your understanding of these emotions and how they are running your life, probably. And this is important because if we are not in charge, if we are controlled by our emotions in this way, which most of us unfortunately are, we become a tool easily for, especially in these times, we become a tool for those right now companies, social media companies, that they can find that they can come into your pocket, they can come into your home and seek these emotions and use them and sell them to someone to control us. Because these primal emotions are the easiest way to control human beings. Our brains don't work when we are in fear, when we are in fight and flight mode. So it goes far beyond just your personal well-being, or the well-being of this planet and the world and the society we live in really depends on these things. So be aware of these things. Let them show you the way instead of fighting them. This is not about having no negative emotions, but by seeing them for what they are and having the freedom not to be pulled by them in all directions. This is the real peace we can find. This is the real joy we can find. Thank you for watching.